So yesterday we got our long-awaited first look at gameplay for Spider-Man 2, and today I'm going to do my best to break down everything that I saw during the reveal. So if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content. So in the first minute of footage, we get our first official look at Sergei Kravinoff, aka Kraven the Hunter, as he is in the process of hunting and also being hunted by another hunter, but he manages to fool the hunter and with what seems to me to be like a simple trick, and he kills the other hunter. And when he's confronting his subordinates, asking if this is the best they can do to come up with a challenge for him, they propose that they should change their hunting grounds to New York City. So when Kraven is shown a map of New York City, we get highlights of various vigilantes and villains that are there, to include Black Cat, the Prowler, Tombstone, Peter and Miles' Spider-Man, Taskmaster, Shocker, and the villains in prison from the previous game, like Kingpin, Vulture, and other members of the Sinister Six. I think it's just cycling through them over the prison. So two new faces we actually see are Wraith and the Lizard, aka Kurt Connors. So Wraith is actually the vigilante persona of Captain Yuri Watanabe, who was the police captain from the first game, and I'm sure that most people are familiar with Dr. Kurt Connors from the live-action movies, who was already the Lizard, even in the first Spider-Man game, as one of the collectibles in the first game is a vial of his blood that Peter used to develop a cure and revert him back to being a human, but he made mention when you, go over the collectible and listen to what he has to say, he mentions that the cure did not last. So Kraven says the great hunt begins, and he leaves for New York City. 6 months later, we see Kraven's lackeys going to the Lizard's location in Queens, which is confirmed to be a new explorable area in New York City, along with the East River, where they chase the Lizard later in the gameplay reveal. So as Kraven's minions close in on the house where the Lizard is supposedly in, Peter bursts out of the basement with the symbiote already attached to him, although when he bursts out, he is in his normal iconic Spider-Man outfit first, and then the symbiote covers it and turns it into the black suit, which kind of raises the question on whether or not this is the first time the symbiote is taking over, which is slightly corroborated by the fact that Miles hadn't seen Peter in the symbiote suit yet either when he meets up with him afterwards. So we then jump into some sick-looking gameplay with Peter using the symbiote to fight, and you can see that R1 is what appears to hold the spider gadgets, while L1 is what holds his symbiote moves. So as Peter is demolishing through Kraven's minions, you can hear in his voice that he has a much harsher and grittier tone because the symbiote is affecting his emotions. We also get a taste for takedowns which incorporate the environment, like when Peter does a barrage of kicks on the minion against the house, although I don't think environmental takedowns are new. It's just nice to see we're going to potentially get more of a variety with them. So Peter takes down the remaining 4 minions with the symbiote move from the L1 options, which looks crazy. Although one question that is raised from all of this symbiote action is what Peter's gameplay is going to look like when he no longer has the symbiote suit, because he will obviously lose it at some point and Venom will be born from it. So if that's the case, we might be able to use symbiote moves again post-game, like after the main story, or perhaps they could be replaced by moves utilizing the 4 spider arms he had in the first cinematic reveal for the game. But Peter overhears from their radio that the Lizard is moving to the Harlem Fish Market, but he knows he can't make it fast enough, so we get our first look at a seamless transition of gameplay by switching to Miles to continue the mission. When we switch to Miles, we get a look at some of the new traversal mechanics, like the super slingshot, which sends Miles super far, as well as the webbed wings under his armpit, which both Miles and Peter can use to traverse, and was teased in the first Spider-Man game actually with the arm webs collectible, and obviously the arm webs have been kind of made more popular with the MCU Spider-Man movies as well. So Kraven's minions get there at the same time that Miles does, and we get a more stealthy approach initially to his combat, where we see him use a new gadget called the web line, which creates a new web to stand on like a pillar above everybody in the room below him. So Miles gets 2 of the minions in a double takedown, which is a new mechanic to this game. He then web tethers 3 of them together and does this sort of Venom shock super jump to where they're at, revealing that his electricity is now blue instead of yellow like how it was in his game. So another new Venom move that we get a glimpse of appears to be a chain lightning strike, where 1 minion was hit but the electricity stemmed to other nearby enemies. So Miles continues his chase of the Lizards when Genki comes through with a hacked Kraven drone to help out. So they find Lizard's shedded skin when Genki mentions that he might be bigger now, and Peter crashes through the ceiling, still rocking the symbiote suit, which surprises Miles. And then the Lizard breaks up through the floor, and Miles, Peter, and Kraven's minions chase him through the East River. When the chase begins, Peter mentions that they can't lose Connors because Harry's dying, and he's the only one who could possibly help. So this is directly referencing the post-credit scene of the first Spider-Man game, where we find out Harry is dying, and Norman Osborn has him in a vat with green liquid and what appears to be the Venom symbiote attached to him. So it's possible Peter already saw Harry, and that's where he got the symbiote from, or maybe Harry was already Venom at some point before this, but the symbiote left Harry and attached itself to Peter or something like that. So we get to see Miles do some slick takedowns of Kraven's minions on jet skis when we see Kraven on the aircraft above him. So Kraven ends up shooting down on a tour boat, so Miles stays to save the people while Peter continues to chase after Kraven, and then it switches to Peter, and it shows more and more of his symbiotic personality, and when he finally goes in for the takedown, the aircraft unveils defenses that Miles tries to warn Peter about, but Peter gets blasted into the river because he wasn't expecting it. So something that I personally like about this scene is that it really is showing off Peter's aggression and his arrogance because of the symbiote taking over. So Miles saves Peter from being captured, but they both fall into the river where the Lizard is currently still swimming, and the Lizard goes to bite Miles, but he turns invisible at the last second to avoid it, and he is pulled out of the river by Genki's drone while still being chased by the Lizard swimming in the water. It almost felt similar to in Miles' game when he's riding the Rhino through the mall. It's a different situation and circumstance, but the way the gameplay just looked and felt looked similar to that. So Peter and Miles work together to send the drone Genki was controlling into Kraven's aircraft, sending it crashing down, and then Peter saves a civilian, but he kind of tosses him to the side, which I thought was funny, but it's continuing to show off Peter's aggression as a result from the symbiote, which is topped off by Peter telling Miles that the Lizard is his problem alone to deal with. So when Genki asks Miles if Peter is normally like that, Miles says no, he never is, with the trailer coming to a close. So that concludes our first gameplay look at Spider-Man 2, which still does not have a specific release date, only this upcoming fall still, but I'm liking everything I'm personally seeing so far. The combat looks way more fluid than it was even in Miles' game, which is insane to think about because the combat already became insane with his, so I have no doubt this game will probably end up being the best Marvel game ever put out at this rate. So comment down below what you thought of this trailer and anything you liked or disliked about it. And if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content, and I appreciate you for watching the video.